Alright, coming on back into it, guys. Thanks for staying tuned. This is the It's Gosu Amateur Dota 2 Open Arena, so we'll get going on this now. Aquarium up on the Dire team, and of course, still joining me, it's going to be the Smoke from It's Gosu. How's it going, man?
It's going great. I mean, we just had a 1 minute recess here, just enough time to get a soda, so that's great. And yeah, to just take a look at the bands here, we do see this actually the same. Well, this time a Darkseer's band, but actually I'll switch around the bands here. Gondar going out band is first, and the first pick Undying. Interesting.
Yeah, that's going to definitely shape up how our lanes are going to go right off the bat. Undying, like I said, last draft, he is just so good in a 3v3 situation especially, but can be really good in 3 versus 1 as well. One way or another, he's going to be able to make sure that their lanes are under control, that Tombstone being such a powerful mechanic for zone control, if they don't bring it down, can make, as long as the longer the fight goes along, Undying is going to have so much more of an advantage, and we'll have to see how they want to draft to synergize with those aspects there. I mean, Jakiro is pretty common pickup along with him, but we'll have to see. As far as the bans from the Radiance end, the Bounty Hunter is off the board once more, as well as that Batrider, but Aquarium actually picking up kind of a Sven Best Carry-esque lineup with that Rubik and Jakiro.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting when you see them switching a few picks around. Especially Sven picking up the Queen of Pain, and yeah, Aquarium just picking up Jakiro and Rubik this time. And the Magnus. Really, really strong team for Sven. Sven Best Carry so far. I really like that team.
Anywho, I'm going on in through, yeah, like that, like you were saying, Magnus adds a lot of potential to set up AoE. He's pretty much like a pseudo Darkseer with that vacuum aspect, but of course it's a lot more powerful. It's kind of like a combination of the black hole from Enigma and the vacuum from the Darkseer. The reverse polarity pulls in everybody in that certain AoE, does damage to them, stuns them through BKB for 4 seconds, and pulls them into that spot there, which helps out that Queen of Pain jump in on it. It was so powerful in the hands of Toons last time around, and now we're going to be seeing it in the hands of Team Sven. So, but once more, Aquarium taking it out of the hands of the iconic hero, Sven Best Carry. Sven is actually once more on the in the hands of Aquarium. They didn't want it to go to the banning phase, as they expected that would not be an option for them any longer. But yeah, we'll see how that works out for them. But it definitely helped last game around, that's for sure.
Definitely. I mean, we did see the Sven just working out beautifully last game. I kind of like how they decided to switch the heroes out, because I guess that Aquarium really liked the usage of Jakiro and Rubik on the Dire team, or on Sven Best Carry, so they decided they wanted to try them out this time.
Sure enough, and they're very powerful in general. I mean, I was talking about zone control a little bit with that Undying, but Jakiro, that's his middle name. He pretty much, with that Ice Path, with the Dual Breath, and especially with that Macro Pyre, just really lays it out. If they're going to be funneled into a small cone, especially in like Roche team fights, or when we were talking about Ancient Control, things along those lines, that's his specialty, is getting a lot of stuns, slows, and damage into the opposition through those things there. He uses lines, he uses circles, and he makes those geometry figures being just represented as death and pain and agony. So moving on forward, we do have some nice bands coming out. Invoker, didn't really see ban or pick as far as I recall in the last game, but also the Puck. Pretty much they know that Aquarium's going to be looking for a solo mid role if the Rubik's going to be playing a supportive one. I mean, Rubik can still definitely play a core solo mid. He didn't win out to the Queen of Pain in that previous circumstance, but yeah, they just don't want to have to deal with that, specifically the Puck and the Invoker. Night Stalker, interesting. I haven't seen a Night Stalker pickup in some time, regrettably, because I love that hero. He's just so aggressive and has a lot of fun as soon as that 6-minute mark hits, but nevertheless, he's not going to be an option on the board for today. The Venomancer, Disruptor, and Leshrac also getting banned out. How do you feel about those?
Honestly, I mean, we did see the power of Disruptor last game, so that's understandable. Leshrac has always been a strong hero since the beta started, and I mean, so that's a great pick. I mean, as not really surprised about the Night Stalker ban. I guess when Dota 2 started in the beta, Night Stalker's picked up almost every game because of his incredibly strong ganking potential, but he has not seen his fair share of the spotlight lately, if you ask me at least. We do see the very strong Tidehunter pickup on the Aquarium side. I really like that. I mean, they have a great team fight I'm on right now, so
yeah, yeah, it's gonna help them out a lot. I was just going to say something. One mechanic that I definitely thought the Night Stalker ban might apply to is the fact that Queen of Pain is so reliant on spells, not only doing the damage that we saw last game, that potential with the Sonic Wave and the Screams, but also using her Blink as an escape mechanism. So if she can't utilize that aspect of her character, then the silence just lasting such a long duration, they can lock her down pretty hard. So didn't want to have to deal with that. And instead going for the Keeper of the Light as, I presume, a support. I mean, he could technically farm up pretty well with that Illuminate, but I definitely think that he's going to be playing a more supportive role alongside the Undying in this circumstance here. Now, one thing I don't exactly like about this is Undying benefits a lot from other supports that are able to slow or stun. Like I said, he goes hand-in-hand with Jakiro because that sets him up. The problem is Tombstone does a slowing effect, but if they get out before more than like 2 zombies accrue, then it's not really going to be that devastating for them. I really like to see people stunned and slowed on top of the Tombstone to maximize on that effect, as well as the Decay as it reduces its cooldown. But they go with the Shadow Shaman. Not exactly sure how they're going to lane that, but one thing to mention is that Sven Best Carry hasn't really picked up a hard carry in the traditional sense, at least. I mean, Magnus and Quap can do some kind of a semi-roll. Do you think they're just going to make some push for early game, or how's that going to work out for them?
I'm actually not quite sure. I considered the lanes to be a tri lane and 2 solos, Queen of Pain heading middle, Undying heading top solo, and then rolling out the Shadow and the Keeper together with the Magnus. Could be a pretty strong tri lane, I guess, but I'm not quite sure. I mean, they could go for a completely different setup, because Magnus can be a really strong carry. Of course, along with Queen of Pain, as we saw last game, not really carrying, but just dominating the enemy team. So, really looking forward to seeing how they're going to do that. If they're going to roll out the Magnus as their main carry this game. So.
Sure enough, sure enough. Now I'm trying to think about what would round out the Aquarium's lineup. I mean, they have really good initiation already. Tidehunter with the Ravage, the Stormbolt from Sven, even Jakiro with his kit of abilities. They have a lot of disables all across the board, so I'm curious what they really want to go with that. I mean, like, if it was a previous metagame back around International 1, I might say, like, a Lone Druid, but they're actually going to go with the Storm Spirit. Go for the solo mid that has a lot of long-range initiation. It's going to be picked up by Toons. Loved his play last game. Of course, getting that Quap Rampage. Can't ask for any more than that, so I expect some awesome action from him with that mobile hero of the Storm Spirit. So we'll get on into it. Let me switch overlay.
I actually really like that Storm Spirit pickup. I mean, he's such a versatile mid lane hero and just a great ganker, great team for great throughout the entire game. It's just, yeah, very nice pickup. So now they have definitely their fair share of both AoE and single target focusing or damage, what you call it. So actually, also looking forward to seeing how the Radiant team are going to handle the fact that they don't have any real carries.
Yeah, they're going to have to put a lot of momentum and early pressure in team fights, and I think that's what they're doing right now with that smoke attempt, trying to put points on the board right off the bat. And pretty much same exact thing as we were looking at before. Aquarium is in the exact opposite lane. They're not popping a smoke this time around, but one way or another, it's really neither one of them are going to be doing too much for it. But wards will be going up, and that'll set them up to control the lanes as they want to go along with it. But going on into the lineup a little bit, I'll talk about Radiant real quick. We do have Towers picking up the Undying, rather, and then we have Magnus actually picked up by Talera and possibly going for the solo mid. The fact of the matter is he has 354 gold available. That's usually a bottle rush. I mean, he could rush it on an off lane and see how that works out for him too, but one way or another, that bottle is going to be probably his first item of choice. Then we have Semite on the Keeper of the Light, Sprock on the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, and I mean on the Dire team we do have Greed on the Sven, Toons on the Storm Spirit, Jakiro is played by Lolcats, Mug, the guy with all the disconnects last game, so that does not repeat itself. He's on the Rubik this time, and of course Moogle, who was actually playing carry last game. He decided he did not like to play Sven again, so he's on the Tidehunter this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like I think Sven was playing with a stand-in or two previously. But it looks like that's not going to be an issue for them at this stage in the game. They have all 5 full strength, so that's great for them.
Yeah. Who were they missing? That was Semite. That's the guy I was missing.
Yep, Semite definitely wasn't on the lineup previously. But as far as how top lane is shaping up, it's rather interesting. We have a lot of that disable that I was talking about to go with the Undying is there available with the Shadow Shaman, going with the Shackles, going with the Hex, and can work pretty well with them. And along with that, Keeper of Light can push really aggressively and do some long-range harassment with the Illuminate. On the 1v1 during the bottom lane, we talked about this before, but like the Queen of Pain and Tidehunter, both of them very survivable. And although Quap, I think, has a bit of an advantage in the lane, I don't think it's going to come to much. No big kills or anything, unless somebody severely missteps their boundaries there.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, in my opinion, it will be a lot more effective to send the Queen of Pain middle versus the Storm Spirit and send the Magnus versus the Tidehunter. So I'm not quite sure what the tactic behind that is, but I'm guessing they have a reason.
So, yeah, I mean, they definitely have a plan, but I guess it's just because of the room control. Magnus loves that bottle. Is very mana dependent, but doesn't really prefer the Soul Ring, generally speaking. So getting that really early off, actually, on the courier already, is going to help him with the runes in general. So going to try to do that, try to contest the runes a little bit more with that skewer, and see how things go from there. As far as the 3v3 up top, we do have some nice ward action on the lane right here. It was giving them quite a bit of vision, but now is going to be denied by the sentry ward, which would also technically stop them from warding the pull here, at least a little bit, if there was any wards in this area specifically. But they're just going to stack it up and go from there, use that mechanic to deny some EXP.
Definitely. So we're down to the bottom lane again. I'm pretty surprised to see that Tyrant actually went for a Boots first pickup as the first item. I cannot quite find the logic behind that. I guess he's going for the super early gank and just needs extra movement speed. But I don't know what to think about that.
Well, one thing is the Queen of Pain has put 2 points in Shadow Strike. That slow starting off is 30%, quite considerable. They actually take a lot of damage on bottom now. The Kraken Shield does dispel the slowing effect, but one more auto attack is enough. Chaos Incarnate will take a fall. Tide pathing a little bit poorly there, and yeah, the boot's not enough to keep him alive. So he was just trying to keep stay up, stay mobile, and unfortunately, yeah, it's just too much pressure coming out from Chaos Incarnate, bringing him down.
Definitely, when you see Queen of Pain picking up the haste rune, in the mid lane we see Storm Spirit actually picking up, actually ferrying his bottle back to the base. And Magnus on pretty low, he's got to go all the way back and regen up. So giving Storm Spirit a slight advantage here.
Yeah, he's already got the last hit advantage by far. I mean, going almost 10 less hits advantage. And Magnus is actually going to disconnect real quick. Hopefully not having similar issues to what Mug was having going on before. But one way or another, that's just going to... it'll work out for a short time period, coming right back on in.
He's right back on in. So taking a look at the top lane, I mean, it's actually quite passive. I mean, since the Radiant team doesn't have any specific hard carries, it's I guess they're just up there to shut down the other team's hard carries specifically. But Sven is actually only has 2 last hits, so he's doing not too well. And so not really getting any farm right now, but just sort of holding each other in check.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the fact of the matter is he's stuck on his tower. He's kind of afraid to do anything. He's losing a little bit of strength to that decay, which makes it harder to last hit. But I think it's going to be shaping up for a lot more action in just a short time period. This is yet another stack. I believe a camp may spawn once more over. If they get a triple stack, they're definitely going to be looking at pulling it. And that will kind of force the Radiant's hand in having to act. Jakiro and Rubik in general are really good turtle supports. They can shut down aggression rather effectively with the telekinesis. Fade Bolt and the Ice Path, those mechanics just really good in that fashion. But I do believe that if the triple stack pull goes on through, Sven Best Carry is not going to want to just give up that experience for free. They're going to contest it, and that's where we're going to see some teamfight action.
Honestly, I don't think it's going to go through this time, but maybe in the next minute. What I was about to say is it's actually quite interesting to see that I think the reason why the Sven is having such a hard time is like just the Illuminates going off from Cupid Light all the time. He's just standing in the jungle just shooting up those Illuminates, and they can't really counter him anyway, because you see Rubik and Jakiro, they can't really counter him through the trees. I mean, they'll have to go full-out gank, and then they're probably afraid that they're going to lose that fight. So I guess he's just going to have free range to just keep on launching those Illuminates in there.
What? Oh, I hate that bug so much. We might have to restart at a pause. We do have the pause at the 3 minute exactly, and everybody's in here, so beautiful. Yeah, when both teams are ready to go, we'll be back into it, and that's just awesome. Love that we didn't lose any time on that. Any other game that would have been catastrophic and would have lost. I mean, it was only the beginning of the game, so not that big a deal, but one way or another, I'm just happy that we didn't have to lose anything about it. It was exactly as it was, and we'll get on into it.
Great recap right there.
So
really sucks to have to lose game time over a bug like that.
Good thing it saves every minute, and we just happen to have disconnects going out on the 3 minute mark, so works out in the end. And we have the first blood still on the board. Moving on through.
Is under attack.
Whoa, I'm dying, really overextending up here on top.
What do you mean?
I'm dying. He's just heading right into the lane.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, he's got the backup. I mean, you can see actually with that pause, do you see the green marker over his tombstone? He's about to cast that down. They want to go aggressive. Yeah. They have the shackles and the hex available as soon as the ice path comes on through, which I believe it will be. Actually, never mind. There are 3 stuns coming out. If they stack up all the stuns on the Dire, then the shackles will be really hard to land because, I mean, it's a 2.5 second channel, but you can just stun out of it with the telekinesis. So, question is, if Rubik holds the telekinesis, they can stop the shackles. Otherwise, they're
Yeah.
going to have Sven disabled for an extra 2.5 seconds. And Undying can
I'm
take
very
it. He can
I'm very
decay.
surprised. Sorry about that.
Undying can kind of take it. He can decay 2 people, get 8 strength out of that, and I think, yeah, he won't have too big of an issue in this engagement here. But the Tombstone did not come up just yet. They're stacking their stuns pretty nicely. He may not survive. They're doing enough telekinesis action. There goes the Tombstone. Nice decay, falling back for the time being. And nothing happens in the end, but yeah, very aggressive. Wanted to try to bring someone down, but the Tombstone just a second too late on that. And they're actually going to get the bounty from it. 70 gold, 2 mug for that.
You see Undying tanking so hard. I mean, I actually thought he was going to go down there, but he got the extra 8 strength just to, yeah, really keeping him alive right there.
Definitely worked out for him to some degree. Tolera actually doing really good on the middle lane now up against Toons. The bottle is empty on Toons. He is looking for the rune, which is up top. If Magnus, if he had actually gone right to it, he could have skewered and picked it up. Maybe still will be able to. Oh, Overload will be available. Actually, yeah, he's just going to Electric Vortex. There's a skewer. Picks up the double damage.
Oh, he actually gets it.
Storm Spear got it. So he's going to bring him down. Most likely. Tolera has plenty of life, so it's just going to be unfortunate. He might have to even Bottle Crow or fall back as he did before. But yeah, Toons has complete control since he picked up that rune.
I agree.
Yeah, I think if Magnus had gone just a moment sooner, he would have been able to just skewer in front of him. Rather than pulling Storm Spirit to it, he could have just gone in by himself and gotten that rune, which would have helped him out a lot in the lane.
Definitely. He can really use that ball. He actually was forced to go all the way back, which means that when he returns, Storm Spirit is gonna have level 6, whereas he's only on level 5. Let's see, other than that, Tidehunter and Queen of Pain just passively farming away at bottom. I mean, Tidehunter really low on gold, especially through that first blood, not really getting any last hits. Queen of Pain more or less free farming, lying at 25 last hits, pretty impressive. And, yeah, not much happening there. Basically, they're probably just waiting to port into some gank.
Pretty much. So, as far as what's been shaping up on bot, I mean, the Queen of Pain has treads available. That gives her 81 last hit damage since it is on int, and seeing as Titan only has 63, he really can't win any exchanges here. I already mentioned on how the Shadow Strike makes every single exchange unfavorable for the opposition. Kraken Shell helps a little bit in that regard, but not enough. And with that, I think Queen of Pain's really going to be pushing this Tidehunter back. He's just, all he wants to do right now is get level 6, hit that Ravage, and be able to TP top to help his teammates, who desperately need it right now, as Undying is pretty much free to push the opponents off the lane whenever he really well feels like it, because he is level 4, he has a really high HP pool, and Sven just really doesn't want to risk his life at this stage in the game.
Okay, actually seeing Undying picking up an energy booster as more or less the first item. A little surprised about that. I mean, well, he needs the mana. Might be a bit over the top. I don't know. What do you think about that?
The only reason I think it's okay is because of Chakra Magic from Keeper of the Light. Otherwise, it wouldn't really enhance his mana pool in lane. But he wants those Arcane Boots, and the Chakra Magic won't be able to sustain him once he starts spamming like crazy. But for the time being, he picked up the item. Actually, Magnus ganking up a really nicely beautiful ultimate coming in. Polarity Shift, burning down. Greed's going to take a fall too. Nice stun coming out, but it's not going to be enough. Shackles to finish the job, and yeah, it's going to be a double kill for actually the Shadow Shaman. So a lot of gold in his hands now, but really, really good flanking up by the Magnus, and just not enough work from the Dire, good sentries, etc.
They're actually also going to take down the tower, so really a bad exchange for the Dire team right there.
No, Quap did die while that was going on to the Storm Spirit, who's ganking up on bottom, so a little bit of recompense, but not that much.
Also, Shadow Shaman actually getting the tower as well, so he is one dead Shadow Shaman now.
Yeah. Support Shadow Shaman, just jumping up to 200 GPM, no problem. Valera overextending quite a bit.
How can this be?
That was weird. He probably did not expect them to be there.
Yeah, he was jousting a little bit with Jakiro, and Jakiro got away with one hit from death, popped his salve off under the tower, and there was not really much he could do. And then he just chilled out for a little bit too long, got stunned up, and knocked down. So in the end, it's 2 for 2, but the tower on the tier 1 definitely makes that exchange for Sven Best Carry.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing if they're actually going to try and counter gank this. It looks like we have Undying lane. They're actually going to pull back now. I guess they can just feel the calm before the storm, so to say, but they might meet them in the jungle here still.
So, as far as team fights go, it's really hard for me to call at this stage. I mean, there's plenty of different factors to consider. There's a lot of disables, a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the Tidehunter Ravage is going to be really, really important. The Rubik steals, we didn't see that much action from it in the last game. He could have stolen a little bit more in my mind. But if he's able to steal, like, a Magnus ulti, or maybe like a Flesh Golem, or Tombstone even. A lot of different things that he could pick up. Could add a lot to their team fight. But the Queen of Pain is getting a lot of farm. Go ahead.
She definitely is. I mean, honestly, about the team fights, I think it's really going to come down to who initiates first in that sense. I mean, if Magnus picks up a Blink Dagger, jumps in, stuns Rubik and Tidehunter before they actually get their stuff off, and they're focused down. I mean, that's an obvious win for the Radiant side, whereas if Rubik, for example, manages to steal the ultra or something, it could turn the entirely other way.
Semi getting picked off a little bit. Electric Vortex completely demolished by that Stormhammer, but now Tower's on all life, and they really have exhausted all their cooldowns. They're going to have to fall back. Nice ice path going on through, but Lara has that haste, wants to lock down on Wildcats, who is trying to juke in the jungle, but nowhere to go. He's going to get brought down. Actually popping the polarity on it, maybe a bit of overkill, seeing as it was a 3v1 at that stage. But nevertheless, they pick up the kill, and they're going to fall back.
That was a huge overkill, but I guess he really wanted him. He actually did not get him in the end, so.
Now, I'm kind of surprised that Tidehunter didn't TP down in that direction. I mean, Ravage was available, and yeah, he just didn't want to commit that.
Yeah, the Tidehunter seems a bit, not to sound mean, but a bit useless in that sense, because he's basically just bombing. He's not really denying the Queen of Pain any farm, so he's just losing massive amounts of experience. I guess he just has to be somewhere. But, I don't know. He's not really doing anything right now, so, and he's not getting any gold either. He has 0 lasted, so. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry, he has 9 lasted, sorry. I was looking at the kills.
I'm guessing that if he thought that there was a guaranteed kill with the Ravage from the TP, he would have used it. I mean, that's why he's carrying the TP scroll in the first place, but nevertheless, it was just a position where I guess he felt the Jakiro was going to get picked off in either case, and that there might have been a chance to pick somebody off. He didn't want to pop off a team fight ulti on a chance. Obviously, Magnus not feeling exactly the same way, but nevertheless, it's Queen of Pain. He's not going to be able to stop him from doing the damage on the tower, but he's just kind of holding position until he can do those big TPs. And actually, Talaria has the big Invis rune. He doesn't have the reverse polarity, but here comes the Tombs from the Flesh Golem. Lolcat's pushed in with the Skewer right on top of it. He's going to drop down under the shackles. Ruby taking a lot of damage too. The Stormhammer does go down on Undying, so he's not going to be able to pursue. And in the end, it's just going to be a one-person pickoff.
Yeah. A lot of action, but actually just one down to...
Yeah, I don't know what Semi thought he was doing. Keeping the light level 5 up against a Storm Spirit with almost full mana at the time on level 9 now. So yeah,
really nothing to do against him.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Mana Leak affects a Storm Spirit while he's in Ball Lightning form, only when he's running around.
Yeah, it doesn't, because otherwise, I mean, you'll be the single biggest counter.
Actually, an interesting shackle's going on Todd, but it's just going to be a little skirmish. Unless Toons really wants to commit to it. Electric Vortex, Ravage does pop off. Both of them on really low life, but they come back off the Shadow Shaman. Skewer comes on in. They have the ultimate reverse polarity is available. He's just going to shockwave on through. A couple more auto attacks, nice Fade Bolt, but not enough. It's going to be 2 for 1. And Sven actually taking control of these team fights thus far. Queen of Pain the entire time was pushing. Got the tower on bottom lane. So it's 2 tier 1s down for them. And you see that on the gold graph. Over about 5,000 in advantage now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I mean, if we take a look, they're just going to push down the tier 1 middle tower here. Let's take a look at the gold graph here. We actually do see Queen of Pain at the absolute max with 335 gold. Magnus falling closely after, 264. And actually, the entire Dire team run really low gold. I mean, the highest, except for Storm Spirit, is at 120 gold per minute. So all of them are actually having a really hard time on that. Ooh, right in the chase middle.
Yeah, there's no way Towers is getting on out of that. Magnus may have a chance. Depends if the telekinesis goes on through, but Toons wants to get that overload. Not going to pursue. Doesn't have the mana for it. They're not going to be looking for that. I just got to say, Radiant have done so good on wards. They've been counter-warding like crazy. Sprock might get picked off here. They just barely got vision of him, and the Ice Path will do the trick. So they're going to pull him in. Magnus does a shockwave for harassment. It's not really going to change anything. Chaos Incarnate jumping on in. Pops up big damage from that ultimate. It's a Scream and a Sonic Wave on all 3, and that's an ultra kill for Queen of Pain. Chaos Incarnate once more. Just doing work so hard. Now they want to bring down Toons, but he will be able to ball lightning right on over this cliff, and maybe safe because of it.
Yeah, Magnus did just not catch him right there, so.
Yeah, I got to say, in general, in this tournament, Queen of Pain has been so strong.
Yeah,
in every
both
single
these
game.
games we've really seen her really dominating.
Really hard. One of the better mids, obviously, but they picked her on the solo lane. She go 1 versus 1 against the Tide. She got plenty of gold, and now with that ultra kill, she's going to be looking for Lincolns extremely quickly, extremely early on.
You also see now she has by far the highest amount of kills, highest experience, and highest TPM, so, and highest lasted. So she's definitely in the top right now.
So
see the Radiant team keep up this momentum and keep going middle.
For sure. So how do you feel about the Lincoln's pickup that Queen of Pain's looking for? I mean, you can take out the Stormbolt, the Electric Vortex, action from Rubik, that kind of stuff. Do you think that's going to be what she needs for survivability, or BKB would be better?
She's going to go for Lincoln's now, we expect, right? Or a Scythe?
Definitely a Lincoln Sphere.
Yeah, I expect the Lincolns as well. I'm not quite sure. I think the BKB would be better in this case. Big action in the middle end.
Yeah, Mughal looking for a big Ravage. He gets on 2. A Blink comes on 3, though, so it's only going to be Undying that's really picked up. Frog's on really low life, though. Beautiful polarity. Holy crap, so much grouping. Non-switch low life, but he's actually going to drop down, most likely. Fable going out through. But Sven takes a fall as well. And that gives enough healing for Undying to pop up a Decay. Try to heal up. He will survive from the Macro Fire at the least. He's going to be Chaos Incarnate that wants to bring down Toons. Just wants to blink on top of him, but does not get the stream off, and now it may be not worth it for him in this position. If he blinks on out, he's just going to play cautiously and escape from that exchange there, not really wanting to push that any further than he already had. Both Queen of Pain and Undying on really, really low life, and barely survived from that, but really good counter initiation from Magnus. They were trying to bring down Undying and Shadow Shaman really, really quickly, and I think that could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, very nice counter initiation there by Magnus. Actually, just a small thing. I think Queen of Pain misjudged the situation quite a little bit there, because she actually had a magic wand that she used right after she blinked. If she used that before, she would have been able to take out Storm Spirit. Just a small miscalculation, but I guess she was kind of afraid of that. It was very, very close, though.
Sure enough,
So let's see.
As a support player, I love this ward action. Just sentries and observers everywhere, keeping vision of exactly what's going on. Now Talera trying to pick him off before the sentries can take effect.
Nice.
And yeah, Wildcats is going to take a fall. Reed putting a stun out onto Sprock. So trying to control this area, specifically Toons jumping in, going to finish off the Shadow Shaman really quickly. Tombstone does get dropped off, though it's going to be really important. Here comes a blind, going to make Reed not be able to hit. It's a huge mischance, and now he's taking a heck of a lot of damage. He's going to take a fall. Toons is the only one that got out of that.
Yeah. I see Tidehunter is probably going to go down as well. He is. I mean, right now, the Radiant has an obvious advantage, but even as it looks right now, I am going to have to pit my money with the Radiants right now. Because if you take a look at, I mean, like, the Sven, who is supposed to be the Dire Team's the hard carry, he is at 0-4 with only 17 lasted, so he has no farm whatsoever. And he is going to have a hard time farming up. I mean, I'm really concerned that they might not be able to pull this back in, except for some extremely good initiation, I think. So.
Yeah, my eyes just went bug-eyed looking at that GPM. Sven sitting at 132, third to last as the hardest carry on Dire Team's lineup. And it really looks like this lineup of a bunch of semis and just a really good team fight is really paying off for Sven Best Carry. I mean, they're just doing so well, and they don't need the scalability towards the late game if at 16 minutes you have this gargantuan advantage. Now some nice initiation coming from Mughal. He does pop out the Ravage. Chaos Incarnate is going to drop down really quick, as well as Polera. He does get the polarity off the Shockwave as well. Beautiful, interesting skewer. And he's actually going to survive for the time being. Nice Hex going on through Ruby, cannot finish the job. Mughal on such low life, wants to gush somebody, try to bring somebody down. Up on top, though, it's going to be 2 kills extra picked off for the Dire, and now all they need is just a little bit of extra damage onto Mughal. They see him, they want him, and Shockwave's not going to do the trick, but I think they will be able to get him in the end. It's going to be really hard for him to do anything other than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's actually going to be a keeper that's going to get him.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, okay. So this got to be a bit depressing for the Dire team. I mean, if you look at, there was some really good initiation by them, and they still managed to lose the entire fight and getting completely dominated. So, really not too sure about what they can do. I mean, their biggest problem right now seems to be the Magnus polarity swapping every single time, and almost hitting all of them, which is, yeah, I mean, it's a huge factor in every team fight. But he's so hard to counter. I mean, you can't really lock him down, or it's hard to kill him instantly. But I guess that's kind of what they got to do, especially with their Sven being so incredibly underfed.
Definitely agree with that sentiment. I mean, multiple times over, Magnus has been on such low life, but he gets that polarity off, and it completely changes everything up. The Shockwave, the Skewer, everything he did perfectly, and he's definitely working his way towards the MVP for this game in my mind, because he's just done so well in the team fights. But it's really the fact of the matter is they don't have the damage. They need to burst him down before the Ravage or Stormhammer disables go on through, and unfortunately he's lived just with an inch of his life, and it's worked out for him very, very nicely. Now they're putting a lot of pressure on this tier 2 top tower. Serving wards going down. They want to commit to this with the fortification unavailable, and towers using some nice tombstone, zone control. Really not going to be too much that happens out of that. The tier 2 is going to take a fall. Mug does steal the tombstone. Actually, Tolero tried to skewer the Sven back in, didn't work out for him.
I was just so sorry. Someone was just writing me saying that they had difficulty hearing me. So
Okay, I
hope
can
that's
turn you up, no
case
problem at
very
all.
much.
So we do have a quick
Yeah.
little skirmish. I'll turn you up immediately after the fact. Actually, Toon's taking a lot of damage. A nice ultimate coming on through, and the Illuminate doing work. And it's just perfect coordination and the exact amount of damage they need to finish everybody off there. 2 down, going to be 3 with Reed taking a fall in just a short time period. Nice ice path though. May lock down Chaos Incarnate as well. He says
Didn't
no,
like
pops
the
out the
sound of
scream,
that?
and yeah, I gotta say, it's probably the worst thing in the world to die with a scream in your ears. It just seems like a very,
Yeah.
very painful death. Anywho, I'm gonna turn you up real quick, and you can kind of just go over how you feel about the game thus far for the time being.
I mean, there's the obvious advantage of the Radiant team. I mean, they really just gotta keep the ball rolling here and just keep it up. I mean, it's 26-11, so they have a huge lead right now.
Radiant's bottom tower
So,
is
I
under
mean,
attack.
they should use the momentum to keep pushing. It does seem that they're doing a split push now, middle and top, but I don't think it's going to amount to anything specific. So,
Definitely. So, all good, I believe. I mean, if you guys can get some more feedback on the volume levels, I always might want to make sure everything has its need to be, game volume and the casters individually, so let us know. But as far as just the item advantage right now, I mean, I've been looking a lot at the gold graph, but just looking straight up at what that transitions into, which is the item advantage. We have a mechanism up on Undying. We have a Queen of Pain, now has a Lingot Sphere, now going for another ultimate orb. Could be a Scythe, could be a Scotty, whatever she wants. The world is her oyster with the amount of damage she's outputting here. And along with that, of course, a Blank Magnus Initiation, been so strong, and Keep of the Light with his Force Staff. All those factors, and when you look at how poor the supports on the Dire are, as well as even the carries, I mean, they just don't have anything by comparison.
yeah, I agree. The only way I see these guys winning, the Dire team winning, is by some incredible initiation. But it's really, I don't expect to see it, but I would be really surprised. I mean, I would be positively surprised if I saw it.
Definitely. They need some strong initiation from Moogle and Creed to follow up with a lot of damage, but he's only level 9. Towers, fearless, popping off the tombstone already. He's nowhere near his team, but doesn't feel he needs it. Dropping pretty low, but he has a lot of HP regeneration with the mechanism and almost the pipe filled up. Yeah, he's going to be going on up to... He has 16 HP regen, and of course the Flesh Golem giving him HP based on his max health. Yeah, he just heals up right on through, so no problem at all. And they're going to take the tier 2. Really no contest.
Yeah. That was, I mean, great initial call. I mean, nobody actually died that time, but they're actually going to go for Roshan killing the Radiant team, so that is definitely going to make a big difference as well. Not quite sure who's going to pick it up. I'm expecting Magnus, but I can't quite be sure. And Magnus also go for the Aquarium, so definitely going to be devastating with the armor reduction.
Yeah, that AC is going to be really big. I mean, Empower enhances the damage, so naturally getting some attack speed and that negative armor, really awesome.
Just so we take a look at the level quickly, we do see that, 1 second, Stormspear might be going for something here.
He wants to go for the Aegis Steel right here. Actually, nice action coming in. Sven pops everything. Here comes a Ravage going off on almost the entire team. Nice Sonic Wave going on through. Moogle's going to take a fall, but they are all on low life. Valera might be dropped down by Toon, but he will not get it away. He has the dot. He is trying to bottle through it. Not going to happen. Instead, it's actually towers on the eastern end, blocking everybody up. Zombies everywhere. It is just, the Walking Dead right now, because there's just everybody's been under Tombstone for just long enough.
It's just amazing. If you know, I don't know if you noticed that even with the great initiation there, they still just got dumpstered. I mean, that's a harsh term to use, but I mean, Undying is just tanking. They're like 3 other people getting stunned and everything, and just coming out with full health, no problem. It's just they could probably go for racks now.
Yeah, those are the K stacks. And think about the mitigation he has available. He has 10 armor, which is solid, with physical damage mitigation of 38%. But with the hood going to be a pipe, 47% magic resistance. So he takes about half damage from spells, and they just can't bring him down. On the other hand, it is going to be a good game called. I mean, that team fight just definitely guaranteed them the win right there. There's really no coming back from that, especially with Claw picking up that Aegis. And that was their last ditch effort. It didn't work.
So this is going to be best out of 3. We got 1 win on each side. Let's see who the winner of the semifinals is next game.
So how do you think the meta is going to shape up for this specific next game going on through? We saw pretty much a no carry build going on through Sven. Do you think we're going to see 2 teams with absolutely no carry and just going crazy with the team fight, trying to win the first 20 minutes of the game?
I couldn't actually be sure about that. I mean, we did see the difference of the tactics these past few games, but I mean, I can't really give an honest opinion about that until I see some of the picks next game.
Fair enough.
But it is definitely going to be very interesting. I'll just go ahead and create the lobby here.
Okay, cool. I'm going to stay into the scoreboard just in case people, either on the stream or on the VOD, want to check it out and see how that concludes. But I'll just sum up with thank you for tuning in, guys. This was a BlazeCasting, and of course I got the smoke with me from It's Gosu. So it's the It's Gosu Dota 2 Amateur Arena. And it was the second game of this best of 3 for the semifinals. Whoever wins this will go on to the final round, or wins this next game will go on to the final round and be able to pick up that awesome prize of the Peregrine Gaming Gloves. So here's the scoreboard. Check it out, guys. You can pause it or whatever. But going on forward, we're going on to the next game. Thanks for tuning in.